So we are going to do a reading, a general reading, just a general reading, right?
Yeah.
For the collective, just kind of some message. And we both randomly chose the same deck. We are going to do Earth Wisdom Oracle. We're going to use this one here, and we'll put it down below so you can see it. This is a deck that Samantha told me about that I absolutely love. It's very earthy and Celtic-y and all those things. All right. So this is just general. So just kind of a message for the collective. So it may not resonate with everyone. Whoops. All right. Do I want to start? Because this guy jumped out. Are you okay with that? All right. So this is Divine Light. So it has someone, I would believe, at Stonehenge, maybe, when it was complete. Entering the divine light. So I would just say that the message is open yourself up to the divine light. The light is always there. You have to walk towards it. You have to connect to it. You have to follow it. It's just a nice healing energy light. Any comments on that, Sam?
I just also think, you know, there's different doorways that you can go through, you know, and just because one's presented stronger than the other one doesn't necessarily mean you have to go through that one.
Yeah. And in the Celtic, from the Celtic side, there's the three rays, and the three rays usually signify the Awen. And the Awen is a masculine energy and a feminine energy, and the balance is in the middle. And this person is walking the balance of those energies. So to your point, there are many doors that we can go through. They all have light, but it's keeping that balance, whatever we choose, whatever.
And different perspectives, because if you see all the openings, there's different perspectives in the openings.
Totally. You'd experience that from that light from a different angle.
Yeah. Because at different times of the day, that light would be different.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So that's the first card. Let's see what you get. Do you notice how the light has changed on my thing here now? It's all like kind of light. It's the divine light. Oh, yeah. There's so much detail on these cards too.
Yeah.
There's a harp. Totally. Okay.
Okay.
What did you get? It's alive.
Divine protection.
Oh, there's the divine. Look at that.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So again, just sort of knowing that you are protected, but also working in co-creation with the universe for your own protection as well.
I almost feel that that person is the same person in this image. And they're now, to me, it's now they're in the center of that circle.
Yeah.
And they've created that nice maiden mother crone kind of image of the three. I'm sure there's a fourth one. I think there's a fourth one behind it.
Yeah.
But it kind of gives you the illusion of the harnessing the light, harnessing the energy, and it's all divine. So it's very calming. It's very spiritual. So a nice looking for the light.
Yeah.
And again, I'm sorry.
Oh, and the light, when I look at the lights this way, because they initially look like candles, but they look, when you see them this way, it looks like selenite.
Oh, really? Okay. Oh,
so
yeah.
They look like selenite within those circles.
Yeah. So that would be very much detox, clearing, divine, well, protection, divine protection. I like how the word divine is in both of those. That's kind of interesting because not all of these cards have the word divine in them.
No. And I would say there's a lot of angelic healing energy there.
Yeah.
And I'm not quite sure what the flowers are, but they look like they're quite white. And they might have a slight lavender color to them, but they're quite white.
Yeah. And if you notice, that picture is very dark So it gives me that the message that I'm hearing is receiving is to do with that shadow self. It's that you know, that in the darkness you can find the light, and that is the light. Like she's holding the light, and she's protected. If that is selenite, she's protected and detoxing herself from anything that would come into her personal space or aura. But it's very dark, versus this one is divine too, and it's a divine light, and it's very light in color, but still again you have the protection. It's nice. All right, let me just pick one here. Oh, here we go. Understanding. So we've got divine light, divine protection. So I'm hearing the divine light is always there. We have access to it. You protect yourself. You hold the light, like figuratively, or in that case, in your picture, literally hold the light, keep the light, and you will get the understanding. You will connect to that understanding, that bridge of connection. What, you had something fall out?
Yeah. Yeah. And well, it's just, I got shivers when it fell out. So.
Oh, please share.
So we've got shadow treasures. So just knowing that you're surrounded by the light as you look at your shadow, because any shadow is a treasure. Just knowing that when you uncover those things, you're learning so much more about yourself.
I got something, like I just got a super hit. Okay, so I got a couple of things. The light that she's holding is the same light that's in there. But if you look at your two images, they are very darker. They're like in color and the messages, where look at these two images are very light.
Yeah.
So it's that whole balance, that whole duality, that whole, we have to have both. We're not just light and love. We do have a dark shadow side that we have to embrace to make us whole. But yeah, I mean, that's beautiful. Like that's, it's like at two different points. Like this is almost like the morning and that's the evening. Like it's like, to me, it's like, look at the colors coming through.
And just knowing with that, what you just said, it's a process. So just because you take time to look at something doesn't mean you're going to resolve it right away. It is a process. So you're moving from your first card into, you're holding the light, and then we're moving into your second card, where here she's on a journey, and it's a process of self-discovery, in discovering those shadow sides, and you know, looking at them and not being afraid. Because if you see in here, she's cultivating looking at those shadows.
Yeah, she's headed into that. Like if you look at her over the bridge, she's headed into the darker aspects of that woods. Yeah. Right. So if you look at the top of your card, the shadow card that you have, it's the light part. Yeah. But it goes into the dark. So it's almost like that's where she's entering through.
Yeah. And that's where she's just.
There's still light. And that's what I meant by it has to be all. Even though this is green and everything, she's headed in this direction.
And you notice that it gets sparse. It gets sparser as she gets, so she can actually go and look at, because it's, you know, a lot of things are hidden by the beautiful things.
Well, this is distraction.
Yeah.
Right. This is a lot of distraction in this, and I don't think you can see it on the screen, but this card, each of the stones has a face on it. I don't know if you can see them all, but there's a whole bunch of little stones all through this, and there's some in the foreground. There's faces, it's to me it's the ancestors.
That's what I got. That's what I was getting. You're resolving and going through things that are on behalf of yourself as well as the ancestors.
Totally. And you have to, like that the water represents the conscious, the subconscious, and the connecting to the spirit, and walking over this beautiful, like it's almost like it's there but it's not real kind of thing. You're walking through this, like your life is all perfect, like it's like a Facebook cover. Everything is lovely, but on the other side you've got the darkness that you have to get through, right? So Yeah. Oh, I love this. I want to pull one more card.
Yep.
Just, I mean, you can pull one too, but
Yep.
I just want to add to this because this story is,
Yeah.
and that's what Oracle is too. It's a story. It's telling a story. You can pull one card a day and that helps give you some direction.
Yeah.
But this one, I mean, the more you pull, it gives you a story. Okay. I don't know. I feel like there's another one here. Oh, this is hilarious.
Okay.
Okay. So
I'm gonna laugh because I think I think we pulled the same card. I have a feeling.
Okay. Let's turn them over on the count of 3. Maybe
Okay.
we did.
And I had two come out. So.
Okay. So I had.
Okay.
No, we didn't.
No, but very similar feel. That one's
now.
very
I've been pulling the light cards, and now I have prosperity. So, but it's very interesting because it's in the moonlight.
Yeah.
And we just had that.
But that feels like to this.
Yes. And what is that one?
So,
Awaken?
awareness.
Awareness.
So which one? What's that one called?
Prosperity.
Yeah. So I think as you become more aware, that will flow easily, and that will create freedom for you.
Yeah, totally. So as you uncover that whole shadow side that you had on your 2 cards, that whole, the darkness, the shadow, holding the light, you do come to more of the awareness, which allows you to have the prosperity. And we just had the wolf full moon and full moon in Leo on the 28th. So we both got, well, a lot of these cards have the full moon in it. I think almost all these cards.
Well, actually, the 3 that we're holding up have
this one did too.
Yeah, none of the other ones I have moons in the middle.
Yeah,
but these 3
did. So they're all connected at different parts in the story. It's probably more like this, but they're different parts in the same story. And remember, prosperity just isn't cash. It isn't financial gain. It is in your personal growth and your growth, right? So it is how you prosper in everything that we do, right?
Yeah. And it almost feels like, too, when you look at this one, it's kind of like, okay, she's uncovering the shadow, but it's also your own treasure. And now you're moving into this treasure, which as you uncover those things, you're creating more of your own treasure.
Totally. Yep. Well, you realize what your treasure is. You realize what your worth is. You realize the value you bring.
Exactly.
Don't suppress it anymore.
Exactly.
Because you're on this journey of understanding, because this was understanding, right? So you're on this journey, your divine light, you're headed towards the light. No matter what door you choose, you're headed towards the light. Okay. So it doesn't matter what path you're on. Is it right or wrong? There is no right or wrong. This divine light is telling you whatever path you're on is the right path for you at that moment in time.
Yeah.
And then I believe you had the protection. So while you're on the path and you're protecting yourself, so you can hold your light. You need to protect yourself from the outside nonsense that's going on, so you can focus on you, yourself, your inner light.
Yeah.
And then
know that you're divinely guided as well with, you know.
Totally. I mean, that word divine has come up a few times, right? Yeah. So, I mean, that's important. Then you have the understanding of the shadow side, which is that same spark. She was holding the light. The darkness all around her is now revealed. To your point, if she puts that down on the ground, does she now see what you have there in that second card about the shadow? What was that called again? Sorry, shadow.
Shadow treasures.
Shadow treasures. So you find the treasures and everything and the value of that. And then from the treasures, exactly what you said, I have the prosperity. So it's not always about being like spiritually bright. It's like sitting in the guck and going through it and weeding through it until you find those treasures, because it's all about balance, right? All about balance. And that was the first card where she's walking in the light of balance. And then you have the awareness. You drew awareness.
Yeah.
So now you're aware. You're aware of what your treasures are. You can get prosperity from those. You can grow from those. And the awareness. Is there anything in that card? That card looks very detailed. I don't know if there's anything that stands out. I can't see it from
she's sort of walking through. It looks like a lot of rocks. So there's a.
Is it the same? Do the rocks have faces like on here, like on the understanding one?
It doesn't seem to have faces. It seems like she's walking through this, and even though it's even though there's rocks on either side and it's sort of a barrier, she's still being guided through this path.
And the rocks usually, like I know for tarot, the rocks represent obstacles that you could trip on, literally. So it could be like she's got a path, but there is some stuff on there. So it's not like a clear shot to whatever she's headed for, but she's aware. She's mindfully aware of the surroundings, and she's cleared a path so she can step over those stumbling points, maybe.
Exactly.
Not trip on the path.
Yeah. And just not allowing the things to get too big and out of and feeling daunting. She's seeing that there's a path, and it appears to have water in front of her.
Oh.
And she's walking towards the moon. Okay. So again, walking towards the light.
Yeah. Yeah, she doesn't have her back to it. She's walking into it.
Yeah.
Is the water in front? The water's in front of her.
The water's in front,
Yeah. And
I'm not sure. Do you know I'm not sure what those Celtic symbols are.
You know what? Maybe she's walking towards this. She's walking towards the prosperity. She has awareness of the prosperity, because look at the moon in this. Yeah. You know, it's that same connection. We didn't have the moon. We had the moon here where she's walking towards the shadow self. And I believe the moon in that shadow card?
No.
Okay. And then I drew this one, which has the moon, and it's showing us the end result. But in order to get to the prosperity and the understanding, you have to have awareness. Yeah. Right. And then maybe she's walking towards the water you see or hear, could be in this. And what was your last card?
And then it moves you into freedom.
Ah, well, there you go. Yeah.
And again, the moon.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
And again, it's still a circle of protection.
Yeah, and it's so funny. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, and it brings you back to the ancestors, because that feels like a cemetery stone to me. So it brings you sort of back to the ancestors of knowing that, you know, you're creating freedom for yourself, and you're creating freedom for your ancestors.
Those are lupins, I think. They look like lupins. I have no idea why I said that or what they mean. I'd have to look it up.
Oh, the flower? You mean the flowers?
Yeah, they look very lupin-esque. You know, it's got the Trinity, the Maiden Mother Crone. Yeah. But when I first saw this, I just pulled this.
Oh, there is okay. I didn't realize there was
there's a woman.
I didn't realize there was a woman in the middle.
Yeah.
Because it looked almost very Celtic cross to me.
When I saw this stone, I don't know why, the first thing that came into my head was Tara, like that center of Ireland, where it's like that center. It doesn't look like that, but that's what I heard when you pulled that card. I heard home Tara, and I just that's what came up. There is a Celtic symbol. My head is going blank. Maybe we can write it below, but there is a woman. Oh my gosh, I'm not supposed to say it, I guess, but there is a woman, like there's a doll that's very symbolic to harvest and plenty and enough, like having enough. And I think a lot in our society, we work in a mentality of lack, like there is not enough.
Is that Vesta?
Maybe.
Vesta?
It's out of my head and I don't know why, but yeah.
Oh, and then there's also
oh, and if you look,
I don't know if I can say her name correctly. Abantia.
If you look at this image, and you're not going to get this, unfortunately, from the card, but I see the image behind here of the land. It's like a cliff. And to me, you can't tell, I don't think, from here, but the same freedom card, it's the cliff. And it's like this is on the edge of the ocean. Like that to me is not sky. That is actually, in my mindset, it's ocean.
That's how it felt to me. It felt very, very water-like.
Which is probably why I heard Tara. And because it's obviously Ireland is an island, and in the center is this, and it's just drawing. It's home. It's the sun. It's home. It's the center. Well, home for me, but it's home. Like it just means that in symbolism. But But yeah. So, okay. So how do we, sorry.
Home is also within yourself.
Yes. Yes.
Home
Yes.
within yourself.
And the divine light resides within you.
Yeah.
We always seek it. We tend to seek it outside of ourselves when we actually just need to look in. Okay, so how are we going to wrap this up? This is a long, but we've got the divine light. So again, it's about the balance, knowing that you have the light within you, that you are the light, that you walk towards the light. We have the protection. So as you are walking towards the spiritual light and you're working on yourself and you're doing all these great things, you have divine protection. You have to know you have it. You are the light. She is the light. Yep. She has the light.
And you can always ask for it as well if you do not feel like you have it.
Totally. And you've got the understanding. So as you search within yourself, you find the understanding. You also have to explore the shadow treasures. So the dark side of things, the things that trigger you, all of that are actually probably the jewels of what's going on in your life. If you can get through the trigger points, it usually you come out the other side to, I believe I had prosperity. Yeah. And from prosperity, we're kind of, she's walking towards, in this image, she's walking towards the awareness of walking towards it. So you can have prosperity and miss it, right? Like you could have this in your life and it be dangling there and you never see it. But she's walking towards it. She's not stumbling on the path. She's not taking she's taking the path of least resistance to get to that prosperity, and which will give her, and I believe your last card was freedom.
Yeah.
So you have it, you're home, you're free, you're safe, you have enough. That's beautiful. Yeah. Do you have anything you want to add to that?
I would just say that, again, like you come home to yourself.
Comes back to you.
Yeah.
It all comes back to 6 degrees of separation. It's back on us, right? Yeah. So the message would be is to realize you are the divine light, to connect to those shadow dark sides of yourself, I'm trying to remember, to understand what you're seeing, to really work on yourself, to be able to have the prosperity, to be aware of what the prosperity is, to protect yourself. And ultimately, the ultimate goal is freedom.
Yeah.
Freedom.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sam.
And just allowing yourself permission to take the time to do it.
Yes. Yeah, totally. Yep. Agree. All right. So hopefully that resonated with a few people.